And we're back for day 3. We are going to be deploying the app to Hatchbox now. So what I'm going to do is actually set up a server to go and deploy this to. I'm going to call my cluster animated GIF me. We're going to have it in, say, New York 3. Everything on a single server. And we'll just use a small server for now. We can upgrade that as necessary later on. And we'll go create our cluster. So while this is setting up, we can go create our Git repo. I'm going to use GitHub, which I use for everything. We already have a Git repo for the old version of this, and I might decide to merge the two into the same repo. But we're going to just create a blank Git repo to keep these separated for now. That will just be a little bit easier because they're totally different Rails apps. It's not like we were migrating anything over from the old one. So we're going to go do that. And in our terminal, we can run git status just to check and see if we have a Git repo. And we do. And we can just do a git add dot in order to add all of those files for our Rails app. And one of the things that you're going to notice here is that our public uploads folder is being included. So those GIFs that we uploaded are being included, and we don't want those. So we want to go to our git ignore and add /public/upload. And that's going to make it so we can ignore those. And we want to make sure too that we don't have our config credentials .key file in there, so that key file is important. We do not want that in our repo. So let's do, let's say git reset public uploads and git add.git ignore, add.git and basically let's go check our git ignore as well. So that should be public uploads, and we should see in our git status that public uploads does not get listed there. So that way we won't keep any of those GIFs that we upload for testing in our repo on accident, and that will be good. So this looks pretty good to me. Another thing we might want to do is add like these DS store files from our Mac to the git ignore, so we can basically have those ignored too, but that's not a big deal. So let's go ahead and commit this. First commit, and we will run the git commands here and push that up to GitHub. So then once that is up there, we should see that all our files are here. And once our servers finish deploying on or provisioning on Hatchbox, then we can go deploy the app to Hatchbox. All right, so now we need to go and deploy our application. We're going to call it animated GIF me and paste in the repo name. And we're using Postgres for our database, so we'll leave that as the default. And we will deploy the app. So this will go ahead and install the Ruby version for us, create our database. It will install all of our gems, deploy our code, very similar to what you would get on Heroku, but it runs on your own server, so you can control the cost of your server and all of that a lot easier. So we'll let this deploy, and we'll be back in a second. All right, so our deploy failed, but if we look at the logs, we can see in the errors that we're basically just missing the Postgres gem in our database YAML and in our gem file, because we chose to use Postgres as our database when deploying to Hatchbox. So what we can do is use the RailsDB system change to PostgreSQL. And this is a new command in Rails 6 that allows you to actually change the database config, which is really, really awesome. So this is going to rewrite whatever it needs to in order to make that work. Then we can run bundle to install the Postgres gem. We can then commit this. So we'll add each of those and switch to Postgres. We can push that up. And then we can try deploying again, which should work just fine this time because now we'll be installing the Postgres gem and using that as our database. So if you ever forget that now, you can use the Rails DB system change command to switch your Rails app over to a different database. All right, so now we need to go and deploy our application. We're going to call it animated GIF me and paste in the repo name. And we're using Postgres for our database, so we'll leave that as the default. And we will deploy the app. So this will go ahead and install the Ruby version for us, create our database. It will install all of our gems, deploy our code, very similar to what you would get on Heroku. But it runs on your own server, so you can control the cost of your server and all of that a lot easier. So we'll let this deploy, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, we'll click on New GIF, and we'll upload a GIF, one of our ones that we've already used. Let's use the Whoa version. Say Whoa, create GIF, and there we go. So everything uploaded correctly. It looks like we probably need to do a little bit of CSS to make this image responsive so it doesn't go outside of this container. But other than that, I think we are good to go. So let's go back and work on fixing that. So let's try uploading this GIF locally and making that change. So let's go back to the home page. And interestingly, it is not overflowing in this example, but it is here. So let's take a look at what we can do here. So we probably want like a width full or something so it doesn't go over. So we can go to GIF, gif.html.arb, and on our image tag, we will say W full, and then maybe on our GIF show, we'll also do that up here just to keep that consistent with full, and that should fix that. Now, one of the things that I would like to do is I would like to add, like Tailwind has. Tailwind has this search bar here at the top in the nav in the docs, and I would like to kind of replicate that so that we could use that to actually find a GIF and navigate you to /whoa if you type that in the search box here. So maybe what we'll do is we'll grab the HTML for this, even though this is going to be a little bit different because that is for Algolia. We can grab this and hopefully use something like that in our navbar. So let's go into our navbar and work on that. So if you remember, we have the left side of our navbar set to grow as wide as possible. And that pushes over these items on the right side. And it looks like they have a width of the Tailwind stuff. Then they have the nav bar on the right side grow, and then this is set to just be a certain width where it's full, and then on larger screens it goes to different sizes. So that is kind of how it's set up in Tailwind, and they have the button that shows. Otherwise, they will display those icons later on. So we may not want to do something exactly the same. This works really nice for Tailwind, but ours is probably going to be a little bit simpler. We might just have, a search box on the left side, for example. So what we might do instead is we might have, say, a item here. This might be flex grow. We might get rid of this, flex grow on that one, and see what that looks like. So it looks like we're missing a span tag here, but maybe we're not. Maybe it's, yeah, maybe. So let's change this to like a form tag or something. We may need to just do form with URL. This maybe needs JavaScript actually to pull this off. Because typically, if you were to do a tag or a form like that with a GET request, you would be able to do something like this where tag is thumbs up, but it's probably going to need some JavaScript to actually navigate to the slash there. So what we may need to do is just a very simple text field tag. We don't really even need a name for this, but we would want the class of and placeholder here too of, let's say, search gifs form control. We'll see how that looks, if it even renders properly. I think we need an item for value. There we go, search gifs. Let's see how responsive this is. It's not too bad, actually. Obviously, our navigation needs to probably change on larger devices, and that will be something we can address later. But honestly, it's not too bad on larger screens. It's just definitely strange here when sign out gets pushed all the way to the edges. So we will probably need some sort of padding around our navigation or something to make it a bit more consistent there, so it's not squished up exactly against the sides. So maybe the way we do that, and I noticed that Tailwind had something similar where on their logo they had a margin X of 4. That added some spacing around it when it's pushed up against the side, and I believe that is probably where they end up doing that. Or this one's large, padding left, padding right of 6, large is padding right of 8. So we could do something like that too. So px6, it's not too bad and probably looks pretty decent on mobile, stays about the same. That's good. We can do that here, px6, and we'll do class px6 here. So we have padding always on those. It does still scrunch up, of course, on the nav bar, so we'll fix that later, but this is looking better. Our nav links, let's see, our nav links on the right side have left margin. Okay. So one thing that we'll probably use for this is stimulus again, because stimulus is a really nice simple thing for this. Stimulus.js. What do we want to search for? We're looking for like a window keyboard shortcut. So I want it to be similar to Tailwind, where if you type the character slash, it will go and focus on that input field. So I want to do something like that. And we need to use a keyboard shortcut for that. Keyboard event. Stimulus.js keyboard. Key press foo. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could put this. I was trying to think of if there was like an at window way of doing this, and there probably is. We could have the two things I'm debating are the stimulus controller wrapping the entire body, or the stimulus controller could be just on this GIF, and we could listen to window events. Stimulus JS window event. So I think it said here at window. So we could do a window key press or something for our data action. And that would work pretty well. So what we would want to do is say data controller is search, and then our action, one of them will be resize at window. So we'll say key press at window, and so it'd be a focus or a search focus. So we want to focus that search event. So let's go and create a new file in here called search controller.js. We'll open up our clipboard controller, copy that, paste a copy of that in our search field, and we'll have our event for focus, which will be this.search target.focus, I believe. Or maybe we'll see JavaScript focus input element. HTML DOM focus. Yes. Okay, that should work. And we can get rid of our copy here. So let's try this, but we're going to need to add our target of search.search. Field, search.field. Field's a better name for this. Field target focus. So we'll come to our page, refresh, have all our new JavaScript. We will click somewhere down here and type the slash, and it will focus on the text box. So that's pretty cool. So if we type slash anywhere, it should type that or select that. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this will work exactly like I want it to, because what it was doing was it would focus, but it would still type the character. So if I type slash now, it will highlight that. But I believe, yeah, we can't type in here anymore. So we want to check if the event key code was a slash. So let's type or console.log event.key and probably event.key code. It's been a while since I've done a key event like so. So we'll see what it is. 47. Okay. So if you typed if event.key equals curly or slash like so, then it doesn't matter where you are on the page, it will automatically highlight that. And you can type everything now except for that slash. The other option too is to JavaScript get focused element, and if the element happens to be the same one, so if it document active element is not equal to this dot field target, then we will select it. So that should do what we want. You would still be able to type a slash in this field, because right now it's just checking if you type slash period. So we can type slash in here. We should be able to type anything else if I don't bump the touchpad. Okay, and I think that's good. So now we have that working. We might want to, auto select this so you could load up the page and immediately be typing something, and if you click away, it will automatically highlight it when you type slash. That could be another option. We could just put that autofocus attribute on here, which I believe is autofocus is true. So now if we refresh our page, it should be highlighted automatically. We could type, and then we need to write a little bit of JavaScript so that when you hit enter, it will submit. So let's go back and do console log event.key code, because we want to handle the time you press enter so that we can navigate to the URL accordingly. So type this, we'll hit enter, and in our console, we'll get enter. So if event.key equals enter, do that, else if, we'll do that, and we want to go window.location, check out this, because I'm not sure if we want the href. Yeah, we don't necessarily need that, but I guess, because this should work from anywhere. So if we were on gif/10, we want to be careful not to grab that. So if we say window.location equals /whoa, we should be taken to /whoa. Okay. So what we can do here is say window.location equals /, and if we use the backticks format, we can say this dot field target dot value and navigate to that. So this dot, yeah, we can't use this dot field target value, but that should do what we need. So here we can say /type money and go to that, and that will take us to our money page. This is perfect. So it's doing exactly what we want, and it might be really nice to have some sort of copy action that we can type in the browser and type, you know, a character or something to copy to the clipboard automatically from a keyboard shortcut, like a shift copy or something like that, shift C. But this isn't too bad. So let's go ahead to our terminal. Let's go add all this code. Yeah, git commit, add search field, and then we can go to Hatchbox and hit deploy, and our new code should be pushing up to production. All right, so now that I've deployed the latest version of the app, I set up a Cloudflare domain for animated GIF.me. That way we can use Cloudflare as the name server for it, and we can proxy traffic through Cloudflare, which will help us prevent basically our server from being DDoSed and things like that from malicious actors. But also this will help add a little bit of caching to it, and we can add other features if we need to later on. So what we need to do to make this work is basically just add the Cloudflare name servers to our domain. And I have that pulled up. I was using Gandhi.net when I bought the domain way back when. So I'll go change the name servers to that. And then we will set an A record in Cloudflare for the domain to point it to our server's IP address. So in Gandhi's control panel, the name servers tab allows us to go and modify our name servers. And we were using DigitalOcean's name servers previously, just to point directly to our server. And so now we can change that over to the Cloudflare ones, click save, and this will propagate over the next 12 to 24 hours. So we can't guarantee that all the traffic will be going to the new server, but it will take 24 hours kind of tops for everything to switch over. So then with this setup in Cloudflare, we can actually point this to our DigitalOcean IP address. And what we want to do for that is just go to our server in Hatchbox. We can grab the public IP address, and we can go to our DNS tab and add an A record for that. Now this is the old IP address. We will change that and update it. And this is imported from our original domain, but if you didn't have one, you would just say A record for @ and your IP address, and you want the proxied status so that the traffic will go through Cloudflare to your server. And that's as simple as it is. So now in a few hours, we should be able to hit animated GIF.me, and that will take us to our new server. All right, and it is another day, but we've gone and updated Animated Give Me so that the domain is set up and all of that is working. You can visit Animated Give Me, and that will bring up the site. I've also went into Hatchbox and went into the SSL section after adding my domain and enabled Let's Encrypt to automatically generate a SSL certificate for free, and that will be automatically set up to be renewed every week actually, and that is eligible for renewal every 2 months. So 3 months is how long the SSL cert takes to expire, and in the last month you're allowed to renew your cert. So now I've imported a bunch of URLs from the old version of the site into this. I basically took a CSV file for all of those URLs and then wrote a very quick one-line thing to go and read the files from the CSV, or the lines from the CSV file, and then create GIFs associated to my account on the website and just tag them with import because a tag is required. Now there's of course lots of little tweaks to make to this. The images, now that we have a bunch of different sizes and things, are going to point out little flaws and other things in our design, so we'll be able to come back to that. But everything is live, and we've now got a Rails 6 version of this live on the website. So that's really awesome, and you guys can go check out Animated Give Me and play with it if you would like. So that is it for this series. We built an app from start to finish. Obviously, it took a few hours to do all that, but here we are. We now have an app. It's fairly well tested, not super, over tested. We don't have 100% test coverage or anything like that, but all of the core pieces that we're worried about are tested, which is the most important thing for me to be concerned with when I'm testing. So any unexpected stuff that will come up as you guys play with this and break things by trying something I hadn't thought of, then I'll be able to go create a test for that and then improve the test suite and the code base. So that is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.